All right, man, peace. So on the heels of Stephen A. Smith and his asinine assertions about so-called black men wearing hoodies on the NBA sideline, Skip and Shannon decided that they were going to hop on the bandwagon and turn it into more race-mongering banter. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
The NBA made a significant change to their sideline apparel this season, with players now wearing hoodie warm-ups on the bench. Kevin Durant wore his hoodie during pregame last night. The change was made when the league switched from Reebok to Nike.
You know what's funny? People always say that so-called black men are so sensitive about race. Well, the main thing that you should be doing if you truly believe that the so-called black man is too sensitive about race is to stop scrutinizing everything that the so-called black man does. If somebody else wears a hoodie, then it's just for style or for comfort or for warmth. When a so-called black man wears a hoodie, there must be some cryptic reason why he's wearing it. And is it a sign of rebellion? Are the Negroes about to revolt? Like, it's very, very obvious that the so-called black man is the he's the center point for a lot of energy, both that emanates from him and that is directed towards him. And there are spiritual reasons for that. There's no doubt about that. It's very, very obvious. Whenever you pay attention to the entertainment industry or the mass media, they pay a certain level of attention to the so-called black man. Of course, in the legal system, the penal system, so on and so forth, the judicial system, the workforce. It's like there's one standard for the Caucasians and the other races, even and including the so-called black woman. And then there's a whole different set of standards. I won't even say rules, but standards for the so-called black man, just in regards to how he conducts and depicts himself. He is held to a higher level of scrutiny. I won't even say higher standards. That is a whole other issue. Just a higher level of scrutiny. Everything that the so-called black man does, from how he dresses to how he speaks, how he expresses himself, there's always implied there's an inference from the other races, and there's always this wonderment about the so-called black man in regards to what is he doing, why is he doing it, and maybe that should be telling the so-called black man something about himself. Maybe that should resonate with you, that you're different and that you're special in some way. It's something to think about, as opposed to looking for that hug and that validation from the other races that the so-called black man is always looking for. Maybe you should spend more time wondering why all these people are trying to scrutinize you and hone in on you and siphon energy off of you. Maybe you're the master. Maybe they're not the master. Maybe you are.
What's your reaction?
Mr. Sharp. Yep. Enjoy. This is just my 2 cents from the seat I sit in over here. Mm-hmm. This is my gut reaction when I saw the video of Kevin Durant sitting on the bench with his hoodie up. Mm-hmm.
My first thought was, oh my God, that 6'11" nigger's gonna rob me. And then I realized I'm in my living room. I can't get robbed here. And then I realized I was just looking at Kevin Durant.
I really liked it. I really appreciated the message it sent to me. And I'm...
You see what I'm talking about? A lot of these people, they try too hard. What message are you talking about? He's sitting on the bench wearing a hoodie. There is no message. All it is that they do not want the moisture to escape out of the top of their head.
And I'm not even suggesting that Kevin was trying to send this message to anybody else. I don't know what his intent was, but he's a really smart guy. Right.
Yeah, that was a really smart, deep thing he did. He put his hood up on the bench. You see what I'm talking about when I speak about the liberal Caucasian? They try so hard to step around the obvious and clear fascination that they have with the so-called black man. And it really is the same fascination that the conservative Caucasians have, which is awe. And awe is mutual disgust and attraction. Those two things are kind of counterbalancing each other in the minds of the liberal Caucasian. That awe. It's like, wow, look at everything that the so-called black athlete can do. And at the same time, oh, I can't stand him. Just keep him away from my daughter type of thing. This is a psychological battle. that many liberal Caucasians battle with and that they struggle with and that they try to cover and hide when they use the black male as a pawn to get a lot of their agendas actionized or put into motion. This is why they covet the approval, or I shouldn't even say the approval, the fellowship of the so-called black man, because they want to use you to get a lot of provisions and ordinances passed and use you as a guinea pig, use you as a pawn, use you as a foot soldier to get those things accomplished. But Skip Bayless, he's just another, by his own definition. Remember, he's the one who says that he is a pariah in the upper levels of the sports entertainment world, and they call him a communist. He said that. Why is that? Because they know that he's an agent of chaos. No, really, it's not that deep. All they're doing are wearing hooded sweatshirts, which are the official apparel of the NBA.
And I think he gets the more powerful, the deeper meaning,
the message,
the symbol that the hoodie represents. When I see hoodie, I think Trayvon Martin.
That's very unfortunate. If every time you see a so-called black man in a hooded sweatshirt, you think about Trayvon Martin, what really are you saying, Skip? What were you thinking when you saw a black man in a hoodie before Trayvon Martin? Because clearly, every time you see a so-called black man in a hooded sweatshirt, there is an image and an energy that is permeating into your brain. It's not just a man in a hooded sweatshirt. It has to have some type of deeper, archaic meaning for you, something that is touching your spirit, whether it be fear or trepidation or awe, whatever it is. So what did the black man in a hoodie represent to you before the Trayvon Martin case? Because it had to represent something. If now, in the aftermath of Trayvon Martin, every black man you see with a hooded sweatshirt on reminds you of Trayvon, these guys are not thinking about Trayvon Martin anymore. And that's not to say that they don't care. It's just that life goes on. Life moves forward. Trayvon Martin is in the spirit world awaiting his judgment. It's just sad that they're going to try to use this issue to create another platform for very low-level racial banter.
I think of the original Flashpoint, cop shooting unarmed black man. It's the original one, right?
No, sir. That was not the original one. Cops shooting unarmed black men has been going on as long as there have been guns here. It just is what it is. As well as other forms of criminality. The so-called black man not understanding who he is and taking out his angst and his issues on his brother. All these things have been going on for the longest time. Trayvon Martin was not, or is not the, he's not the line of demarcation for crime against young black men or unarmed black men. So, no, sir.
Black teen in this case, young man. And it hits home to me because it gets me back on message. It gets me back to where you wanted to be with Colin Kaepernick from the first flash of this, right? It gets me where everyone was trying to get with the protests in the National Football League. And it's a cool way to send a powerful message with a symbol. We remember the whole Miami Heat team stood with their hoodies.
Correct.
Okay. How many years ago was that? I'm losing track. Was that 4 years,
It
5
was,
years?
2013.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're back. It has come all the way full circle, and that symbol still resonates to me. And I think I would like to see more NBA players wear it because it's a cool way to send a message without bringing in all of the distraction of, oh, you're disrespecting the flag. Right. Again, I told you, the first time I saw Colin kneel.
Now, brothers, please pay very close attention. Here you have an agent of chaos, by his own admission, somebody who's been accused of being a communist, Skip Bayless, once again giving advice to the so-called black man in regards to what he should do to protest. This is why I've told you, brothers, for the longest time, when you do research on the civil rights movement, they were all being guided by liberal Caucasians behind closed doors. They were being told what to do. They were being told what tactics and strategies to embrace in order to bring dysfunctionality to mainstream society, to make people so uncomfortable that they would seek out the resolution of the issue by succumbing to your demands. Who is Skip Bayless to tell any of these men what they should or shouldn't do? What he should do is fall back, because he always gives the the disclaimer that he's just a white guy, right? He says, "I'm just a white guy. What do I know?" But now he wants to try to encourage so-called black men to wear hoodies, quote unquote, because that is supposed to represent a form of subconscious or subliminal protest. No, how about wearing a hoodie just represents wearing a hoodie? But like I've stated already, when a black man does something, it always has to be some high symbolical meaning to other races. All right, when everybody else wears a white T-shirt, it's just a white T-shirt. When the black man wears a white T-shirt, it's a fashion. All right, when the non-black men wore Timberland boots, it was for working at construction sites. The black man turned it into a style. So once again, they're really saying, when they scrutinize the black man so heavily, that, wow, what is it about you that makes what you do different from when I do the same thing? That is really what they're so quizzical about. Because once again, all it is another form of apparel, and it is official NBA apparel. Why is this supposed to be a new form of protest for? Why is that? Because the liberal sports media wants to keep the Discordian comments going. They want to keep the Discordian conversation going. That's why. And they see that they see the Kaepernick thing is starting to peter out. So now they want to transition over to the NBA and create an NBA storyline, because these guys are not getting down on one knee. Okay? So now they have to create some other form. Oh, look, they're protesting this way. No, they're not. They're just chilling on the bench.
Or actually sit for the anthem. Right. I winced, but then when I heard him speak, aha. Right. It's going to take this to get everybody's attention. I believe he got attention. He opened eyes, ears, hearts, mind.
He hasn't opened shit, which is why right now he's trying to open up a court case. Yeah, that's the only thing he's trying to open up right now, because his ass is finished. Okay? It's over. Unless there's going to be a late surprise in this narrative, the shit is over.
Minds.
And of course, Skip is talking about Kaepernick.
At least he paid for it with his job, but it had value, it had meaning, and I think he went down as an historical figure, as the face of a movement. Mm-hmm. But it came with
No, he's going to go down as a pawn of the Black Lesbians Matter movement.
With a heavy price, and the NFL is still fighting this battle that the NBA is not fighting at all, because its players said from day one, we're fine, we'll stand for the anthem, no big deal.
Yeah, because they're all getting guaranteed contracts, and they all have sneaker deals, and they understand the importance of corporate branding. They walk around with no helmets on, and they are a star-driven league. They are not an imprint-driven league. So all this shit really is they're using the race talk in the NFL as an excuse to try to empower the players and bring in that spirit of self-aggrandizement through the Hegelian dialectic, which the NBA players don't need to do, because they're already getting their level of stardom and glorification. So they don't need attention, right? The NBA guys are already like, we're good. We don't need to get down on one knee.
Because we know we have platforms, and we have coaches speaking out against the president. Right. We have players speaking out against the president, who's spoken out against Steph Curry, and they're not going to the White House. And so they realize they have a more powerful platform in their eyes than having to kneel for the national anthem. Right. So in this case, you have a symbol that everybody gets. White people get this symbol. Right. They know what it means. Mm-hmm. So
he said white people get this symbol. Yeah, we know that they get this symbol because Mark Cuban said that if he saw a black man walking down the street in a hoodie, he crossed the street. So we know what the symbol of a black man in a hoodie represents. It represents danger. It represents fear. It represents trepidation. It represents intimidation to the average Caucasian. That's what it represents. All right. So Skip Bayless is trying to deliver a message in an inverted way to say that the black man in the hoodie represents rebellion, when in reality, all it is a man in a certain form of clothing. And all Skip Bayless is revealing is his intimidation of the so-called black man, which is something that anybody could see anyway. You could tell by how he speaks about certain athletes that, he is in awe of the so-called black man. And as I've stated, the term awe implies both disgust and attraction, fascination.
So go ahead and do that, because it's subliminal. when I saw the video the first time, it's like,
Right.
the look of Kevin Durant, Finals MVP, sitting on the bench with
Right.
the hood up. I thought Trayvon Martin.
Right.
Okay, isn't that what you would like me to think?
No, sir. No. Why would anybody want you to think of Trayvon Martin when you saw another so-called black man in the hood? Now, I hope that Shannon Sharp is sharp enough to see through this and correct Skip.
Think?
Sure. Skip, the thing with the hoodies is that all of a sudden, the hoodie didn't start with Trayvon Martin. It just so happened that a team was wearing a hoodie when he was shot by this guy that wanted to be a police officer, or what he wanted to be, neighborhood watch.
No, he wanted to be a race soldier. That's what he wanted to be. He wanted to be a race soldier.
It's an East Coast thing that goes way back, the hoodies and the Timberland boots. Skip, I got no problem with it.
Well, I've already stated this in the first video with Stephen A. Smith. The hoodie actually goes back 4,000 years, okay? It was known as a mantle. And so-called black people always wore that form of clothing, apparel. Really, all nations wore it. It was just another garment. Sometimes you'd wear the hood with a long cloak attached to it. It's known as, in the scriptures, it's known as a mantle, okay? And if you read the Bible, it's known as a mantle. It's just just a hood with a long cloak that you'd wear over your shoulders, or or it would be attached to a cape. It could be attached to a cloak, or you could wear it Robin Hood style with just the hood, and then just like a short, just a short piece of clothing coming over your shoulders. Now, I may do a video on Robin Hood very soon, because it will give me a chance to expound on certain aspects of the late 12th and early 13th century in England. But, that's a whole nother topic for another day. Point being is that the hood goes back into antiquity, being worn by the so-called black man. It's nothing new. That's why brothers have a spirit on them when they rock the hoodie. There's certain things that the so-called black man wears that, it just goes back to antiquity. There's nothing new under the sun.
And what the NBA is a business. They're trying to make money. So Carmelo Anthony and a lot of these NBA players during the summer were wearing hoodies while they were shooting, playing basketball, pickup games. And the NBA said, oh, wait a minute. These guys are influencers. Nike just took, like, hold on. Let me see if I put this, see if they like it. It's just like the jerseys, the uniforms that the players wear, all that stuff that you see on the sideline, the coaches wearing. I think last night the Broncos had camouflage on. You don't think people are like, hold on, I like that. I don't.
That's another thing that the so-called black man turned into a style. It's the wearing of camouflage. That goes back to the late 80s, early 90s. Cats in the hood always wore camo. That shit is nothing new. But there's a certain spirit there's a certain spirit behind when the black man wears everything. That's why when you're a clothing designer, you want to make things, you want to make clothing that is appealing to the so-called black man, because however he dresses and whatever clothing style he likes is what's going to resonate with the young people of every other race once it's broadcast out.
I don't look at it. Coach Belichick wears a hoodie on the sideline with the sleeves cut off. Nobody thinks thug.
Thank you, sir. And nobody thinks of Trayvon Martin.
Nobody thinks that.
But he never puts the hood.
Right. Well,
he puts the hood up, Skip. So knock it off.
He has it up sometimes.
Cold,
yeah. For me, Skip, I like it also, because it just goes to show you, and I think, I don't know if Kevin Durant was trying to send a message.
He wasn't trying to say anything, Shannon, and you know it. Shannon knows that Skip is going a little too deep, but Shannon knows, and really I shouldn't say too deep, that Skip is really just trying too hard. Some people try so hard to not seem racist that their racism comes out. It's neither here nor there. It really don't matter. Shannon just got to get his money, which is where his mind should be at. But Shannon knows that Skip is full of shit. That's why he said that. That's why he said, I don't think that Kevin was trying to send a message, because he knows he wasn't. But Shannon knows that he has to toe the line with Skip and make sure that he does not develop too tempestuous a relationship on air with Skip, while he's still building his own broadcasting brand.
He's like, I'm a great basketball player, and not only can I put a shirt and tie on and go talk to these people at Silicon Valley, but I can wear this hoodie, and you shouldn't think less of me because I have this hoodie on. Trayvon Martin didn't get killed because he had a hoodie. He got killed because he was a black man and
Kid.
I keep saying kid. Thank you, Joy. He was a black teenager.
Yep.
And the guy didn't recognize him and didn't think he had a reason because he was black. And I don't know you. You don't have a reason to be here. But his dad lived in that apartment complex.
And and most of you brothers know this by now. I'm not going to go into the Trayvon Martin thing, but his dad is a high-level Mason and also an alleged blood gang member, which is why the rapper The Game was heavily interested in that case or in that issue. But that's neither here nor there. If you ever see the death photos of Trayvon Martin, they actually had his body posed in the same pose as Tammuz, or the pose of the crucifix, like he was nailed to a cross. And I believe that the number that they had next to his body was the number 6.
That's why Trayvon, and it symbolized because he was coming from the store. He had candy in his pocket, as most kids would, and he had a hoodie on, and it somehow came to symbolize that. But J.R. Smith wearing a hoodie, and Nike has done this before because you see a lot of speed skaters, they wear it.
Thank you, sir. I mentioned that in the first video. If you watch the Olympics, you see all type of athletes wearing hoodies. The point of the hood is to keep moisture from escaping your body through the top of your head.
Wear this. You see a lot of track and field athletes wear this. It's supposed to be aerodynamic. Obviously, you can't play with that on the court. But this is...
For now. You never know what the NBA might allow soon.
But this is not the...
Remember, and also remember, too, back in the 70s, they used to allow cats to go out there and play with chains on. Like, if you watch Dr. J or George Gervin highlights from the late 70s, they used to be out there, going at it with their chain on.
This is not the first time that we've seen this type of garment being worn. This is the first time we've seen it like this in an NBA game. Mm-hmm. But what the NBA saw, how many of their players was wearing this in the off season doing pickup games, and Nike was like, man.
Yeah, they were wearing them during pickup games because during the off season, wearing that hoodie was a way for you to work on your game and also lose weight or stop your weight from ballooning up. That's why Melo became known as Hoodie Melo, because Melo was trying to shed some pounds so that he can gain back some quickness that he's lost in the last few years on the Knicks, where he's been complacent and also stressed out dealing with la. Hey, remember that video that I did about loneliness where it was stated that a lot of men start to feel lonely after they get married because they lose track of their former social circles? When people get lonely, what happens? They get depressed. When they get depressed, they start eating too much, right? They don't work out as much as they should. Melo needed that little separation so that he could finally chase after his own destiny. If that woman was really a woman and a wife to him, she would not, she would have just followed him and allowed him to leave the Knicks when he needed to, as opposed to putting up with all that stress and that nonsense for the sake of her and her fake ass acting career, where basically all she does every time you see her on TV is show her fake ass titties. I mean, what does the script look like in Power, where it says Lala's character pulls out left titty? Like, is that what her script says? Because the damn sure is not, giving her any dialogue.
I can make some money. Because I know, if they buy Steph Curry shoes, they buy LeBron shoes and Russ shoes. If they see Russ and KD and all these guys wearing that, what they going to go pick up, Skip?
Oh, that's definitely true. We all know that hoodies, particularly related to the NBA, would be a major sales boon for Nike. There's no doubt about that.
They're going to go pick up them hoodies. I can sell me a couple million of those also.
And once again, there's a reason why those players, they wear the hoodies in the warm-ups. It gets the blood flowing. You definitely need major blood circulation going throughout all your muscles to avoid tears, to avoid pulls throughout your body. And every athlete knows that you have to be properly warmed up before you engage in any form of athletics. That's why you see boxers before the fight, they warm up in the dressing room. A lot of times they get rubbed down with a certain ointment to promote perspiration.
So now every team has this option.
It's on exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And for the most part, I've seen, now those are only a handful of guys I've seen it, but I see it on the back of their uniform, so I know it's there. So I have no problem with it, Skip. I just love the way the NBA handles things. I just love the way they strike me, and I could be wrong because I don't really know that many NBA players, but it really strikes me that the NBA and its players are in a partnership.
Well, the reason why it strikes you like that, brother, is because you're a liberal Negro. So you're making certain assumptions from the outside looking in. They are in a partnership, but please understand that the framework of the NBA is constructed totally different from the NFL. The NBA decided that they were going to promote their stars in the mid-'80s. From the time that David Stern came on in '84, he decided that he was going to create a framework where the NBA was going to build itself off of the back of its stars. All right. So this is just coming off of the first Magic Bird finals, and Dr. J was nearing his end, and then you had Jordan come in all in '84. That all happened in '84. So David Stern very, very brilliantly decided that he was going to craft the marketing of the league based off of marketing its stars. And that's why you'll notice if you ever watch any of the All-Star games from the '80s, they would always push and promote the stars. They promote the older stars like Dr. J, and they promote the younger ones like Jordan, Dominique, Charles Barkley, and they will also promote the ones that were in their prime, like Magic and Bird.
And the NFL and its players are in a business relationship.
Well, you only have the NBA Players Association to blame for that, and to thank for that, Shannon, because you guys failed to get the guaranteed contracts that you would need to really get the self-respect that you're looking for. You're really using the whole Colin Kaepernick kneeling protest as an excuse, as a tantrum to throw because you're mad that you guys don't have, or the current players in the NFL don't have guaranteed contracts. You have no one to blame but yourselves for that.
The NFL partners is the TV networks and the sponsors, while the NBA owners and players.
No, sir. Believe me, the partnership, you're partners with whoever's paying you. Okay? They're letting the NBA players think that they're partners because they understand that, the NBA stars are the ones that you're going to market the league through. They don't really care about paying them guaranteed money because the NBA is not a collision sport.
And that's why they don't have a problem. When the Commissioner Silver said they're going to stand, they have no problem because they never try to suppress their opinions, or if they want to speak out on something, because they could have, like when they had the hoodies on and when they came out with "I Can't Breathe" T-shirt.
Yep.
Adam Silver said, "You will take that off."
He did.
But he didn't.
Of course not, because he's woke. And you have to understand, Shannon, the premise of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Adam Silver understands that if he supports the liberal black players in the NBA and their emotional outbursts, that when he asks them to support homosexuality and lesbianism and transgenderism, they're not going to have a choice but to support it. Because, hey, guys, look, I supported you. Now it's time for you to support me. As I've already stated, I'm a firm believer that Adam Silver is a homosexual, allegedly. You can Google him at the homosexual parade, even though supposedly he's married. That dude, that dude has 2 broke wrists. There's no doubt about that, allegedly.
Yep.
But that's all it's about. And as I've told you, brothers, before, on the liberal totem pole, please remember this. The so-called black man is at the very bottom. They use you to get certain reforms passed that they want to get passed. They use the black man and try to act like they care about your issues and your plight because they know that when they need you to, you'll help them promote the true agenda, which is lesbianism and homosexuality and transgenderism and eventually pedophilia. Okay? So it is what it is.
He let them be them.
He did.
And in the NFL, well, this is what we want you to do. This is what we're going to tell you to do. And that's...
Well, and you also have to understand in business, Shannon, you have to consider your market. The NFL's market is conservative Caucasians from middle America. The NBA's market is much more diverse. It's much more global. It's much more tech conscious. They market more to the coastal cities, the major cities on the coast. On the East Coast, Boston, New York, Philly, D.C., down to Miami. The southern border, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans. And then you have the left coast, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, up into Portland, I almost said Seattle, but I go back with the NBA. Seattle, of course, moved to OKC. But that's how the NBA operates. The NBA is not thinking about Middle America. They don't have a team in St. Louis. They don't have teams. They don't have teams in a lot of Midwestern cities. I mean, they have one in Indianapolis, but Indianapolis is kind of on the border between the Midwest and kind of that Eastern type of flavor. But Indianapolis would definitely be considered Midwest. There's no doubt about that. But they don't have to worry about having the same the same fan base as an NFL would, where they have to be concerned with losing viewership if they come out as liberal. The NBA figures that most of their fans are going to gravitate to liberal propaganda, and for the most part, they're correct.
That's not how the NBA works. So I love this look, Skip. I love it, and I don't really have a problem with it. And I think people that might have a problem with it, I think they're looking at it from all the wrong reasons. They're trying to find a problem with it, but I don't see one.
I'm going to anticipate.
Well, obviously you're talking about your boy Stephen A. Smith, and he's trying to find a problem with it because, as usual with Boule Negroes, they're concerned about what white people are going to think.
Anticipate that more and more stars will wear said hoodie on the bench.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that I haven't seen more guys warm up in it, because you see.
Well, it does help you. It does help you
Get you
warm
warm,
up
right?
Wearing
Thank you, Joy. Thank you.
wearing the hoodie, and the reason that they made
Wearing
the
the hoodie up.
yeah. For track and field,
Yeah.
you wear the hoodie
Yeah.
all the time. It helps get your your
Yeah.
whole body warmed up. But
Yep.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you. Hey, I give Joy credit. I've said this before. When she speaks, most of the time she actually has something to say.
But
Now,
the reason they made it the way that they did, where it zips really tight, is because the guys were shooting around with the hoodies up and they were blocking their
View,
sight. And,
right.
or you have to, tie it really tight.
Okay, so would anybody attempt to wear the hoodie up while in the game?
No, you can't, because you can't have a jersey. You don't have your name
Yeah,
on the back,
so-
the number
yeah,
on the back.
true.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Heat.
Don't be surprised, though. Like I've already said, don't be surprised if Nike creates a provision where, Nike in concert with the NBA has an alternate jersey with a hood on it. Don't be shocked.
The Heat. LeBron tweeted out that picture of the Heat in the hoodies, March 22nd.
Oh, what is Joy thinking about? Talking about March 22nd.
2012. Trayvon Martin was killed on February 26th, 2012. And then Ebony Magazine released several different covers, which included Dwayne Wade on it wearing the "We Are Trayvon" shirts.
I remember that time period because that was during LeBron's, that was the first season that he won a title. That was also a little bit after Linsanity, and right around the time that LeBron wore the Dark Knight mask. I believe that was in the game against the Knicks, where him and D Wade and Mario Chalmers shut down Jeremy Lin and put an official end to all that Linsanity bullshit.
Shirts.
Right.
Are the Seahawks?
But anyway, it was a good little discussion that Skip and Shannon had on this issue. I just wanted to comment on it, just so that we could assess Skip Bayless and some of the statements that he was making or trying to make, as usual, to cover up for his subconscious feelings. But it's neither here nor there. Anyway, peace.